Morning. I'm just getting a coffee. Made a coffee and shaking a bit this morning. I always shake a little bit after what happened to me. My favourite cup my grandson painted. Lovely coffee. I put creamer in it, which I shouldn't because diabetes. Anyway, isn't it strange what happened to Mick Jagger with those bikies? Like he didn't want anything to do after they killed some guy at his concert. And he thought that was really horrible. And it is. It's very horrible, cruel. You know, they could have done it a different way to be more of security people instead of killing. Were they cavemen? And they went, because Mick Jagger cancelled everything to do with them. He didn't want nothing more to do with them. They went on a boat, went to his place, but on the way, the boats power of water. And, having the power of water is really, really a powerful thing. A lot of people worshipped water gods in the ancient times, water gods and Venus. The Romans had Venus, she was water, I think. The shell opened up and she sat and laid in the shell with red hair, flowing red hair. I don't know where they get the red hair from. Everybody has their own, hey. In ancient times, water was classed as a powerful thing because it could flood you any moment. The weather could turn any moment. You might think, oh, it never turns, it always stays sunny, and the next thing you're flooded. Some people in Australia said they've never seen water. They always had to get it in by trucks, and the little rain they had, they managed to survive. And then the houses are flooded and streets are flooded. They've never seen water like that before. So, a pop-up to do with my antivirus. It keeps popping up. I've got a different one. I should delete it so that it doesn't keep popping up. I don't do much on this laptop. I need videos. So anyway, isn't that peculiar that they flipped their boat in the weather and had to swim to shore? I think some of them drowned or something because they couldn't swim. And here these tough men were, ready to kill Mick Jagger, and then all of a sudden they flipped over, and their pride must be really hurt. And everybody laughing at them, and they won't be doing that again. So, rich and famous people, they have a lot of protection from different powers, I reckon, and plus from their paid security for protection. So they get a lot of protection because they need a lot of it, because there's a lot of people that are crazy and want to hurt them. And then you look at people like me that aren't rich. Oh, that's my car. I have to go and turn it off. So I just started every second day to get the battery going, and the wipers moving, everything moving, and have it Well, I'm putting it in to get fixed probably this week or next week. And because now that I have the money, thanks to my lucky numbers, I was watching a program about magic symbols on YouTube, and I'll just get it up because I'll tell you what it is because I forgot what it is. Okay, it's Runes, also Magic Symbols by Aris Hager, and it's got quite a few views on that topic. Quite a few, and I was also interested. I'm halfway through it. I haven't finished watching it. I'm busy with some water sounds, nature sounds. Can't get in trouble for that, using other people's water sounds. It's only water. So having the power of water, being rich and famous like that, and having the power of water, you must be very lucky to be protected, both with security guards and water, the weather. It's absolutely amazing. Really is amazing. Reminds me of the gloves. Controlling things we don't know do exist. And Jagger would have high EMF readings around him because having all those powers, he'd be feeling it really unusual. He probably doesn't know what it is. It's a shame because people should be open-minded and taught. There are powers, there are magic symbols. Reiki does exist. People have been healed from Reiki. My roommate's got HD, Huntington's disease, and I asked her if she wanted me to use Reiki. She said yes. And then I thought, well, I'm not very, it's my first few times, but I thought I would give it a go. You never know, because it's supposed to heal cellular and genetic diseases and illnesses. And HD, Huntington's disease, is genetic. You're born with it. It comes with the family. Makes you wonder why they have children spreading it. I wouldn't. I would definitely not have children and spread it that way. No. Maybe that's a way of getting rid of it too as well. Keep breeding, having kids, and they have kids, and they have kids, so forth. Maybe it eventually fades away, like radiation. Who knows? But anyway, power of water. It's sometimes I wear my crown for the power of water. It's made of shells, turquoise. It's real turquoise because I tested it. It hasn't been dyed, so they are real turquoise. So it's quite nice to have a secret to wear in secret and think about the power of water and, just dreaming on us females and males like to do. Some males like to do that too. Why not? It's not just for females. There's no law that says it's for the young and only females. It's for elderly as well. It's for all ages and all sexes, both sexes, to think about the power of water. Buy yourself a crown, buy yourself seashell earrings or something if you don't want a crown. Just think of the power of water, because it's amazing. It's really amazing. I'll show you one of my shells. Okay, now there's this big one. I put water in that sometimes in summertime, because it gets so dry sometimes and it's no moisture in the air, so I put water in it and set it on there, top up there on that little shelf. Fits there. And I have another one, but I put water in this one once and it leaked, so it's got a hole in it somewhere. And but it's a nice big shell to represent water. So I've got big shells, and I've got little shells as well in a cup that I sit in the shower room to represent water, of course. And I wash them out now and again and keep them clean that way. But this is my lovely seashell, nice big one. And I would hate for it to drop, so I'm going to put it back. This is my comb. It just combs through my hair. I don't use it all the time, just sometimes. Here's another shell. The other shells went missing. People, when I turn my back and don't realise, don't watch. Plus my son wanted some. Neighbours in my old place wanted some. I ended up giving a lot away. I won't be doing that again. I'm going to keep them and put them in a bucket and just look at them now and again and dream of the power of water. Why not? So this is my power of water. Handmade crown, ties up at the back, so it's very comfortable. And real turquoise. I tested them, they're real. There's a little shell there that must represent the third eye. And these look like balls. And I've got it sitting here. I'm going to wear it today. Water cells on. I'm thinking of the power of water because, well, there's been a lot of bad things going on, and I want to think of good of water. A lot of bad floods in different countries, and it's been lovely here, so I'm going to keep loving my water, rains and weather here. Keep with my thoughts of the power of water. Also, what I bought for air for that ticket that with the symbols appeared. That should be here in a couple of weeks. Had to buy it online. But anyway, going back to this fellow that talks about the symbols and magic symbols and how they work. You can actually invoke them, and that's pretty much what I must have done for these my symbols to be invoked using Reiki to invoke them and send them. because you can send energies. So they must have, it must have been invoked that way when I was doing my Reiki with the symbols. So many unusual things going on. It's hard to keep track of everything. I should write everything in a book. Get a nice book and write it all in a book. And just keep all the weird things in it. The events of what's happened around the world, the days, the dates, because it's just shocking sometimes. You look at them. I turn YouTube on in the mornings after I do a little bit of exercise, wash my face, brush my teeth, make a cup of tea, put on YouTube, and the news is just so much going on, bad things going on with water, floods, really big tides from the blue moon, whatever it was called. It didn't look blue to me. They call it blue, which is silly because it's not blue. It's orangey, yellowy colour, whitish. I didn't notice any difference with the moon here in Rockhampton. I guess it didn't affect us here as it did with everywhere else. It was lovely here, just beautiful weather. I've got long sleeves on today because this morning it was a little bit chilly, but it's warming up now. So people with powers is just amazing. Sometimes it's the normal, it's the norm to some people, like this fellow once. He was in Maryborough, Queensland. I was there when this happened. The streets were all closed down. He lent his friend that owned a shop, a business, money, and the business owner told him he would give the money back when his business picks up, and he was grateful for the loan. But he never did pay any money, and his business picked up a great deal. So the guy that lent the money walked into the shop, asked for the money. He needed it for his kids because he was a single dad and he needed it for his children, and he was only helping him out. And he wouldn't get the money. He didn't get the money. So he went away, came back with ground up chalk and threw it on the ground and crossed his arms like this and stood back watching. And the shop owner got sick. And everyone that walked into the shop got sick. So the ambulance were called. They got sick. More ambulance crew called in to help the sick ambulance crew people, and the other people sprawled out near dying, and they also got sick. So more ambulance crew, and then eventually the police came and they got sick, and more ambulance crew got sick. So there were all these people stretched out on stretchers by different ambulance crew, and they're all dying. So they called in, they closed down the streets so nobody got sick from what they believed was the chalk making everyone sick. So they called in an expert, a disease expert, to test the chalk to see what it was so they can help these dying people. There's nothing in the chalk. So they did blood tests and stuff like that, and there was nothing wrong with anyone. There was no diseases found, and there was nothing wrong with them. So the expert, with all suited up, he goes back to them and says to them, I can't help you. There's nothing, no diseases in the blood tests. There's no diseases in the chalk. I can't help you. There's nothing wrong with you. And then all of a sudden they stood up and, oh, we feel better now. So it's mind over matter. So the power of the mind is a great thing, a very powerful thing. And that was a true story. The guy got in trouble for throwing chalk on the floor. Disguised that although there was nothing in the chalk, he never got arrested, because there's got to be something in the substance for you to be arrested in Australia. If there's nothing in the substance, no substance in anything, then you don't get arrested. There's got to be something in there to get arrested for. So the power of the mind is a great, wonderful thing. So whatever happened to those bikies was hilarious, and they're stupid people to go out and the weather change on them. They should have instantly stayed away and not thought of what they were doing. They were too busy thinking of how tough they were and what they were going to do to Mick Jagger to notice the weather and the changes in the weather. And they didn't seem to notice or care, and their boat capsized, which is very peculiar. So all these stories that go on in the world today, mine adds to the story as well, with the gloves and symbols. I always keep it by my side because they're my lucky symbols and my lucky numbers. I'm going to get the car fixed next week or the week after. This coming week or next week. So depends. If they're all booked out, then I've got to wait my turn. So all these stories about powers and strange events and things like that going on when other countries are copying floods and fires, devastation, when a different group will be copying strange powers be going on. So yeah, it's a balancing of, because floods are very powerful, so they're a power in themselves. And if you don't treat water with respect and protect your home from floods and have backup plans, then you're stuffed, especially when your politicians end up flooding, letting the flood waters out of dams. When they do that and floods houses, that's shocking. That's like saying, well, the dam comes first before you, and I'll be damned if the dam is going to crack open for you, will flood you, and not let them know. They've got to warn people, you know, that's very sad, and having all that mud and rats and things in the water, and yeah, horrible, really horrible. When on the other side of the world, there's all these powers going on. It's just unusual, isn't it? Lovely weather and everything like that. It's very unusual. But it happens, you know. Hawaii used to be a beautiful place, and then that fire happened. I mean, some parts of Hawaii still are beautiful, and tourists are always attracted to Hawaii being a beautiful place, but it's just so overpopulated with Americans. There's hardly any natives there. It's really weird. It's like taken over. Anyway, that's their thing, I guess. That's what they do. That's how it works. Some places have nice weather and other places cop disasters. It's just how it goes. I don't understand it myself, but politicians have a lot to do with it, with their dams, you know, letting out the water and stuff like that, flooding homes and things like that. That causes a lot of devastation to people. So it's not just the weather causing it, it's the weather filling up the dams, but it's not causing the major. Sometimes it's man doing. And China's copped a lot, and America's copping a lot. Ooh, boy, are they copping a lot. You know, they've gone through a few hurricanes already, and so is China. They've gone through hurricane after hurricane after bloody hurricane. It's like a flaming disaster zone over there. I was tempted to buy stuff from China, and I thought, no, it'll never get posted because they're flooded. So I'm not going to do any buying from there for quite some time, maybe never. And I was going to buy something from America, and I thought, oh, you know, they're all flooded and copping hurricanes and tornadoes, and they'll never get it sent either. So I thought best to just stick with my own local stores in Australia. So I did, and found the most beautifulest thing of air, which feathers are to do with air. I was going to go with feathers. All right, I'll let you know. I went with the god of air, Amun, which is also in the Bible as Amen. That came from Amun. Amun became friends with Ra, and they become Amun-Ra. And the statue of Amun-Ra is feathers, 2 feathers, and the sun disk, because they came together. So I thought that would be appropriate for my memory of an event with these strange symbols that came out of air, thin air, and just appeared there. They would have had to have moisture and warmth. But how they have the intelligence to make their own ink, I would like to know, because I would like to make free ink and then print it on the paper without making it go through the other side and through any other pages. It's just, yeah, one of those things that goes on and on and on, that's never ending with me. There's always something unusual happening. Like the gloves was unusual and still is. But I don't talk much about them because I got dragged out by cops here, and the needles they put me on caused my body to tremble like this. And now I have a little bit of a shake, and I don't like to talk about the gloves anymore, so that's done a dash there. I do it in secret. But having symbols appear is another strange event that happened. Makes my symbols sacred to me now. and I treat them with respect. I bring them out every day and they sit by my side every day because I see them as lucky and magical. Because how did they make the ink to do that? It's really strange. Is it manipulation of something, or are they intelligent? And they just decided to print themselves? Anyway, all these different powers are lucky for me. This is a power of luck. It is a power of luck, and I'm willing to share with other people, but not all the symbols that I used for the luck are on here, only some of it, and there's a little bit slowly appearing, but I must have pulled it out before it printed it. I disturbed it before it printed itself out. However they do it, it's weird. And it's not blue or black ink, it's sort of like a charcoal green. Be nice eyeliner, put it that way. It'd be lovely eyeliner if I could get my hands on it. Lovely eyeliner to have a charcoal green instead of boring black or something. Same old, would be nice to have charcoal green. But anyway, there are strange things going on in this world. Different places are copying stress while other places are copying unusual goings-ons. And yeah, what's going on in this world with people that got powers like that fellow with the chalk. He's very powerful. He's one person not to mess with because he uses mind over matter. He can make you think that there's a disease in the chalk without even telling you or saying a word. You'd think it and come to near death, possibly die, if that smart fellow, disease fellow wasn't called to do the tests. There are people with powers that do exist. And it's funny to say this, but I think Mick Jaggers has a power of water of some sort to be protected the way he was. Because even with rough storms, you get your boat through. Because I've been in rough storms. I've been on boats going to New Zealand, and every wave was splashing all over the ship, and it was up and down, and oh boy, I was so seasick, because I get seasick. I can't go on boats. I have to take a lot of drugs, and I can't go on boats. I can't. I turn green, the colour green. I turn green and I vomit all the time. And I've got to take a lot of medications, so I steer clear of boats. I can't even have a waterbed. I get sick with waterbeds because I used to own one. I was always sick. I can't have anything like that to do with water in that respect, but I have water crown and I have shells and I have gloves. And now I have magic symbols that bring me luck. They're lucky ones. So on this side of the world, I'm sharing the luck. I did share it with people, made some videos to share it. Hopefully they will win lotto as well. I even showed them the symbols, so they probably could pause it and write it down and put them around their home or whatever they want to do with them, like candles, and do Reiki even, and have the symbols bring them up. It's just strange that other countries are copying terror when all around me is beautiful, and I feel so sorry for them. But I can't give up my luck just because they are devastated. I cannot do that. I can't give that up and say, well, I'm not going to do that because they're suffering. I'm going to keep with my luck. It's the same as, well, when you have money, you're not going to give up your money because other people don't have it. You're going to keep it to live. So it's the same way as that. I can't give up. If I win more money, even, I bought another ticket, yes, with the same numbers. If I win more money, I'm not going to pass that opportunity up just because other countries are copying it bad. So the way I see it, it is bad that they're copying it, but we aren't copying it here. Not to say that we won't copy it. I could jinx it and we could cop a very bad storm. And there are supposed to be bad storms, but they didn't eventuate. It's just cloudy here, and rain clouds are around, but they've sort of fizzled out. It's just a bit cloudy with some white clouds and sunshine. So we didn't cop this nasty storm we were supposed to cop. So everything around here at the moment with these beautiful symbols of luck is just beautiful here. And that's why a lot of people moved to Rockhampton, because it used to be the most horrible place to live because it was always flooded. If Mackay got flooded, got rains, if they got heavy rains, and Mackay rains all the time, Rockhampton floods. But since I've been here, went through one storm, and that fizzled out. It wasn't really a storm, but it knocked some poles out on the highway further away and blocked our electricity. So that was bad because the heat was so hot and having no cooling fans and things like that. That was bad, but there wasn't anything really bad. At Yeppoon, houses got torn to pieces, which was nowhere near here. It's a long drive, half an hour drive, 20 minutes, half an hour's drive, depending on how fast you drive. That got ripped to pieces. Some houses got torn apart. Telephone poles down and everything like that. Took them a long time to fix that place up and rebuild. But here it was pretty well all right. A lot of people had no power because the poles were knocked out. No, that's how it goes. We still had nice weather here, sort of. There wasn't bad. So, and since then, it's been quite nice weather, and it hasn't flooded. Normally it floods here, but since I've been here, it hasn't flooded, and everywhere else flooded, and people have been moving here. So the housing situation here is dire because all the people from Melbourne and Sydney moving up here are buying houses and renting houses, and the locals have been booted out of their homes because the people from New South Wales and Melbourne have been offering more rent to pay if they let them rent it. So you can put a bid in the renting industry now. Instead of saying, okay, that house is $200 a week, a person can say, well, I'll pay you $250 a week if you let me have it. So that's what they've been doing. They've been adding bidding and on rent. So anything can be bidded. So anyway, what I bought for the event was a coin. It's an American coin, but it's in Australia. It's $1 coin and it has Amun-Ra on it. And I thought that would be appropriate for this unusual event because this god of air is Amun, and I would imagine you'd have to have warmth to make ink and moisture. So I don't know. I don't know how they make it. Maybe they're so intelligent they can manipulate reality and make ink. I honestly don't know how they do it, how it got there. It's rather strange. It's something I won't get over, put it that way. And to buy the coin, I can always hold it when I'm out and think of air, the power of air and my symbols to protect me if I need it, and or bring luck if needed. So all these strange things going on, I always buy something to represent that moment so you can stay connected later, which is what serial killers do when they murder people. They keep a trophy. But I'm not a serial killer, I assure you. I'm more of a weird person with weird goings-ons around me. But I don't mind. I actually enjoy it. I actually like it because it's good to be different to everyone else. I like it. And I like to have symbols that appear from nowhere and shock me in that way. I like that sort of feeling. And to see Mick Jagger with his power over water makes you put him in that category as people with powers. So the rich and famous can have powers. It's probably what they've always wanted anyway, because they couldn't get that sort of thing being so rich. Powers don't really go for people like that. They go for mainly poorer and people that have handled trauma. You always end up with more, like Jesus Christ. He suffered a lot and ended up with more. A lot more. Great deal more. Even holidays on his birthday, which he gets more than the Queen. She only gets 1 day. And we don't really celebrate her. We don't have days off for her birthday. We just have it a day, yeah, it's another day, yeah. And everybody still goes on, works on. But at Christmas, it's a different story. Everybody has days off at certain times. And kids have quite a few weeks. And so he became more famous with all the traumatic events that he copped and the good things he done. makes him more famous than any man on this earth. Because you look at Mick Jagger doesn't have a holiday, world holiday. The Queen does, and Jesus Christ does. So they're very, very famous people when it comes to... The only reason why the Queen has a holiday here is because they took over Australia and booted the Aborigines off the land, gave them some plonk and tobacco and said, here, go get drunk. And took over that way. They tried to take over China, but when the lease ran out, China booted them out because nobody really wants British. I don't want them here either. I want Australia to be a free country. So yeah, and royals and things like that. I want to see Australia strive alone. I reckon our dollar will go up higher. Because that's what happened to America. Their dollar went up high when they broke away finally. It took them a while to build up. But once they built up, they've become a very wealthy country and very strong. They've got a lot of homeless people, but they're also very strong country. And to see them suffering the way they are is very sad. Maybe they need to put magic symbols up. I suppose that's not funny, is it really? It's not a thing to joke about. They are copping a lot. Floods and things like that. And China's copping a hell of a lot. This morning's news that one of their tower inferno thing with businesses, big tower of businesses, floors, heaps of floors. I don't know how many, I could be wrong, but it was very tall, all burnt up in flames on one side of it. So their businesses, they're copying a lot of unusual behaviour going on to them. So I wonder if there's powers against them. And to do that, to have powers against you that way, you must have done something very bad, very, very bad to the wrong people or the wrong person to cop things that are coming out of the blue and destroying you. You must have thought all the powers to turn against you, because it's lovely here and we're not copying anything. We haven't done any bad things. You get a lot of young kids going around breaking and entering, but that's no cause for floods and infernal burnings and things like that. I'm a strong believer in powers with the weather because of the gloves and these unusual symbols appearing. I do believe that things are happening for a reason, and most of it is man-made, and some of it is caused by natural disasters, causing man to make the wrong decision. So that's all for now. That's all I wanted to talk about was people with powers. There's so many people with powers out there. Like I've heard, people can project images. Now, I can't do that. I can invoke symbols to work for me. That's a different thing. I don't know, I've never really heard of anyone doing that, so that can't be true. It's just gossip. I've heard of a fella from India that can handle electricity, and he shows it on the videos on YouTube, and he gets electrocuted and it all goes through his body and out the other end through his body. So he's very unusual. He's got all these plates in his body, and because of accidents and things like that. And those plates get hit and spread the disease, spread the electricity through his body and then out the other end. So they're situated in the right spots for the electricity currents to go through his body. It's not unusual. And he's classed as a man with power, but he can't produce electricity. He can only handle it. So it's not really a power, it's a power of handling it, basically. So he can get electrocuted by a lightning storm, lightning bolt, and probably survive because it'll go out the other end. Amazing. There's that fellow, and there's that strange little girl that cries diamonds, which I don't believe, because I believe they're coming from at the back of her eye, and as she's crying, they're coming through. The tears are pushing them through. I believe that the father or mother put little diamonds in the back of her eyes, because there's plenty of room back there. You don't want it to get into the brain and cause problems. I don't know how they can put things in the back of people's eyes, but I believe that's no magic power. It's just them trying to prove she's got a magic power. The ones with magic powers are the ones that nobody proves. They don't prove it. They just do it. And they're the ones with powers, and they're the ones you've got to watch for. So when you watch Mick Jagger in a concert on TV or listen to his music, think about that boat capsizing when they were trying to kill him, how protected he was and safe from them. That is something to think about, I reckon. And think about my symbols, they're unusual. The gloves, you don't have to think about them because I'm not going to talk about them and get dragged out by cops again and stuck needles in because I'm a threat to the world or whatever. It disgusted me how they treated me. That was Liberal government. They're idiots. The doctor told me the Liberal government asked them to do it. How would you be? So I sent them an email and said, you're not going to win the next election. And they laughed on the news. They said, we don't fear about losing the election. We're going to win it. And they lost. Labor won. Labor's still in it to this day. And so I was glad when Labor won. I was free from their place and free from their drugs for making me shake. But now I shake a little bit permanently. There's no changing that. I can't fix that. I can't. I don't know how to get over that. I think it's permanent because of what they did to me. There's another thing as well. That ex-Prime Minister Blondie, which is Trump. I call him Blondie because of his hair. When he was around that time that they rampaged the White House, he claims that he was getting magical items from another country. Oh, that's so funny. It sounds so childish. Magical items from another country. How would you be? I hope he wasn't thinking about the gloves. I hope it wasn't me. And that's what came about me getting dragged out by cops. Australia can't handle that sort of thing. If you said to Australia, oh, there's some people there with powers, they wouldn't know what to do. They don't. If you said that to Americans in America, they'd know what to do. They'd treat the people, they'd go around, talk to them, do some tests. In Australia, they don't know what to do, so they'll just drag you out, but get the cops to drag you out, because to them that's just unusual. And to tell them that UFOs exist, that's unusual. They're just not with it. They're not up to date with things. Labor is pretty much up to date. They're getting pretty full on with their open mind, more up to date with things than, definitely more so than a liberal. Liberals don't know what to do. They just drag you out and stick needles in you and be done with you that way. Anyway, I'm going to finish my coffee, and that's enough talking for now. Bye.